How's it going, everybody? It's been a while since I've put a video up on this channel. Over 2 weeks. I was sick for a little bit, and I was just focusing on my other channel. And I didn't get a couple of videos up on that channel either in a couple of days. I had some kind of stomach virus. I don't know what it was. Apparently, it's been going around everywhere, apparently. Canada, down here in the South, North Carolina, everywhere. Overseas. I'll be drinking some of this Mountain Dew Baja Cabo Citrus. It's pretty good. But I want to do some impressions of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I would have done a pickup. I think the pickup, it was the last one I did for this. I did an impression video on my other channel for this as well. But I'm much a little further along than I was on that one. This is almost kind of a review, but it's not. I'm not going to give it a score. This is an awesome game. I've been enjoying the hell out of it. I will say, I'm on the jungle area. I forget what it's called. It's in Asia, though. Somewhere in Asia, but I cannot remember. It's like something with an S. It's the part where you have the boat, though. You're going around, kind of. You're in this village, and then you go out on the boat and do, some side stuff and whatever, main story stuff. But it's really cool. But I will say, it's almost to a point where I don't know. I put in a good amount of time into it so far. I'm in 15 to 20 hour range, because I've been trying to do a lot of the side stuff and the other ones, the other levels, the Egypt level. The Vatican level as well. Oh, one sec. So I've been doing a lot of stuff and getting my time worth, getting my money's worth, right? But I feel like it's getting a little. It's like almost like I'm like, okay, let's wrap it up type. But I haven't played it for a couple of days, so I might jump back and be like, oh yeah, sweet. Sometimes that happens when you're playing a game a bunch. You kind of get you almost make yourself sick of it for a little bit, even though you're still enjoying it. But I just got the breathing device, which I can go back to other places now and get some of the other stuff I couldn't get, because I remember I was in the Vatican in like the catacombs, and it was like breathing device needed. I was like, what? When am I going to come up with that thing? But really cool game. Graphically, it looks great. The combat's fun. It's in first person, but it works. You can get into fist fights. You can block, counter, and stuff. You can stealth dudes. You can almost use anything as a weapon. You're picking up all types of weapons. Broomsticks, shovels, wrenches, hammers. You get guns. I think I've only shot a few people in this game. You have a gun, but you can pick up the guns of the bad guys, the enemies. And you can then flip the gun over and knock them out with it, and stuff breaks. You get little repair kits. You can repair stuff if it's not broken, because each thing has a little kind of level of how much damage it could take before it breaks. But the combat's pretty fun. There's also little fighting rings in each side, with the fascists or the Nazis. You get a disguise and you go in and you get into boxing ring. You're fighting dudes. Each area has one. I've gotten to the last one on the first two areas. I keep losing to the final dude. I gotta just learn to block better. And you're picking, like I said, you're picking up all types of weapons, dustpans as well, fly swatters. You get an achievement trophy for using a fly swatter. Then you get one for throwing an apple at somebody too, because you got food. Food will, you get bandages for your health, but food works for your stamina, and it kind of solidifies your stamina for a little bit, as well as I think your endurance or something. But you get all types of different foods and breads in each area as well. Combat's fun. The game starts off with you. I guess you're dreaming, but it's the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Looks great. Everybody looks great. The character models. Troy Baker does a very good Harrison Ford. Although there are points when he gets loud and he's like mad, or he's getting nervous, whatever, he really sounds like him. But there's other parts you hear it's Troy Baker. You're like, okay, it's Troy Baker. I say Nolan North. I think I'd say Troy Baker. But he still does do an excellent job. There's this woman, Gina, I'm traveling with now. I met her in the Vatican. She was looking for her sister. I won't spoil what happens there, but stuff happens there. There's a few other people you'll meet all along the way, allies that will help you out in each area and stuff. Tony Todd is, rest in peace, he's one of the giants. This is part of the backstory or the story of the game, and what they're protecting and stuff. The Great Circle. I'm not going to get too into the story stuff, but it's cool. He's popped up again. He was in the beginning. You think he's the bad guy. He's not. They're protecting the pieces of the Great Circle, these things. But he's popped up again briefly. Of course, the Nazis want this stuff. to do whatever messed up stuff they're gonna do with them. They want to take over, whatever. So you're trying to stop them. Classic Indiana Jones enemy, right? He was always going against them, except in the later ones when it was in it was like the 60s and 50s, 60s. Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny. Just for that one. It was the Russians in Crystal Skull. Was it the Russians also in? No, it wasn't. I think it was the Nazis actually again in Dial of Destiny, because they did that flashback scene where they de-aged him, and that dude's still alive. Mads Mikkelsen's character's still alive, and he's a Nazi. So I guess it still was them. But yes. So anyway, you're fighting the fascists, especially the Italians and the Vatican. Mussolini's mentioned. And they're all over the place. They're like a step ahead of you. At points you get something, they take it. For classic Indiana Jones. Oh, you get the piece, but the bad guys get it, and you gotta get it back, and then stuff like that. But it's fun. The exploration's cool. All the areas are cool. The Vatican's cool. Although I felt like I was in the Vatican a little too long, and then you get to Egypt and desert, pyramids and stuff. Really cool. Like I said, you're doing some side stuff. You can do some side missions that you'll get trophies for. You're finding books, and you get points every time you take a picture. You get a camera to point to. You're taking pictures constantly of everything. Usually tells you when you can take a picture. Sometimes you can use the camera for hints with puzzles. There's classic puzzles in this game, right? And there's little mysteries you gotta solve too by figuring out little puzzles to get combos for locks and stuff like that. But you get books that you use your experience points on. They'll give you better fighting abilities. Your weapons will last longer, more ammo. You'll get more health bar and stuff all types of things like that. There's a lot of stealth in this game too. When you have a uniform on, you steal a uniform, the captains will notice you. They'll just immediately like, you're not right. That's weird. I don't know why, but everybody else will just, you can walk around, but you do a lot of stealth. You're sliding in under broken fences or going underneath a building, coming up inside of it, stuff like that. You're doing stuff. There's different ways you can go in there, swing in. It's not going to work out too well, but you can also stealth about. There's different kind of paths to get to each area if you want to. Figure out maybe there's a hidden wall. You can break walls in this game with sledgehammers and stuff. But it's super. It's fun. It's really good. It's a cool adventure game. It works well in the first person. Graphically, it looks nice. There were a couple of instances where the game just froze, and it was like, oh, send a complaint in or whatever. Like, you send a little thing or whatever. It didn't affect it because the game auto saves quite a bit, so you never lose much. Both times it happened to me, I didn't even lose any gameplay. It just started off from where I was at. There are a lot of scorpions. Well, there's a lot of scorpions in the Egypt area, the desert area. What else do you find in this? You're finding these other things, like relics of something, and then you find artifacts as well. It's classic indie type stuff, right? You find artifact belongs in a museum type shit. Brody's in there briefly. In the beginning, you're in the college, and then you go off on your adventure, and then you get fired from the college. And then you have a dream sequence where you get like kind of drugged. It's like part of the trap before you solve this puzzle, and you're back in the college. Things are weird, but it's a cool game. It's cool. It's fun. These kind of adventure games are fun. I like indie stuff. Like I said, Infernal Machine on the Nintendo 64 is a top 5 game for me all time. I love that kind of action stuff. Emperor's Tomb is another great one. It's a PS2, Xbox One. I have Indie's Greatest Adventures on the Super Nintendo. That's side scroll where you're playing through the first 3 movies. I have Infernal Machine on the Game Boy Color. And the Lego Indiana Jones games are really cool as well. There's also point and click Indiana Jones games. There's Last Crusade, and Last Crusade also came out on Genesis, Nintendo. Temple of Doom is another one for the NES that I used to have when I was a kid. But Last Crusade is on the Genesis, Super Nintendo's Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I think it's on the Game Gear as well, Last Crusade. But there's also point and click ones like Fate of Atlantis and Last Crusade. Fate of Atlantis I have on Staff of Kings, the Wii, PS2, and PSP one, which is pretty cool as well. But that has the Fates of Atlantis, which are cool classic point and click like King's Quest type stuff, which is cool. But it's a really fun game. I'm still enjoying it though. Like outside of maybe it's you want to you get a little point to the point where you're like, oh, I want to just be done with it. It's like, oh, I just you want to see the story progress. But I think that was because I was playing a ton of it. Use the whip. You can whip dudes. You're whipping certain parts to swing across a gap or whatever, and you use it to pull things and stuff. You can use it on enemies. You can disarm them, or you can just stun them with it as well. And you get like Lucky Hat's another perk I got from a book, where if you get knocked out or killed, you can look for your hat before you die, and then you get a boost and you get back up. So there's some cool stuff there. Like I said, all the environments are really cool, and it is fun to explore. And you're like, oh, looking around, trying to find stuff. I always like that in these kind of games, like Uncharted as well, and the Tomb Raiders. It's fun looking around and finding stuff. Super fun game though. I don't know where else I'm going to end up in this game, if there's another area or not. I'm sure there's probably another area, but I know this is, I think, the last big area. This is a massive download, 135 freaking gigs. This is the one bag, I forget his name, Voss here. But it's fun. It's cool. You can, like I said, you can swim and you can stay underwater for a little bit, but certain areas you need this breathing device to. Which I bought from a dude. You gotta buy it, of course. You gotta get the money. You're getting money. You're breaking little lock boxes open. You're finding money all over the place. You will, even if you're disguised, if you grab stuff inside, they'll think you're stealing it. Maybe not. I know if you are stealthing around and you steal something, someone sees it, they'll flip out. Everybody comes after you, and you're kind of screwed at that point. You can get dynamite in this game at certain points that you can light, because you get a lighter at a point and you light them. That's another thing, you're using torches when you're in the ground and stuff. Like I said, there's a lot going on. It's classic stuff. It's classic Indiana Jones stuff, and it's fun. A nice one-player game. And this pretty much shows you everything you're going to do. It really does. The characters, the areas you can go through. There's a cool sequence. You're in, is it Shanghai or Beijing? I think it's Shanghai. And you go, part of the things you get with the Great Circle, you speak in this now extinct language or whatever. And you have the piece of the Great Circle or whatever. And all of a sudden you warp to another spot. And all of a sudden Japan's bombing, I think it was Shanghai. And at that point, you get on the plane. You're also in the Himalayas at one point as well. Briefly, these two areas you're not in for that long. Not short, but you're not there for hours on end, like the Vatican and Egypt and now this part of Asia. But you're in a plane shooting out all the ones, and they do the thing from Last Crusade when Indy's dad shoots out the tail rudder or whatever. And he's like, oh, they got us. They did that because I shot the thing. But that was cool. That was a cool little change of pace. I'm probably missing some stuff. But yeah, it's a cool game. Now, I don't know if it's... I mean, for me personally, it wouldn't necessarily be a system seller just for one game. I know the Xbox systems are now getting a bump up in price. Ballsy fucking move. They're putting their game real quickly. They're putting their games up at $80 at the end of the year, which whatever. If a game hasn't been released, I don't need to agree with the price, but if a game hasn't been released, you can price it at whatever the fuck you want. But the fact that these systems are 5 years old, all of their systems, they're bumping up 80 to like $130 or some shit. These are 5-year-old systems. You're already shitting. Microsoft's been shitting the bed. And now they think that we're going to get a bump in sales because, I bet you know what? I was thinking about get that Xbox at $400, but now it's $500. I think I'm going to buy it. You're bumping up the price of existing consoles that have been out for 5 years. It's like freaking weird. Because the games you could at least exceed. I think part of it could be the tariff stuff, but also they saw Nintendo saying $80. I'm like, well, here we go. And Sony's going to follow suit, of course. Which you can charge whatever you want. Find out, see how many people don't buy it. I will not. Like, I will be like, I'll buy 5 or 6 original Xbox games for the $80 at that point, and wait for games to drop in price. But like I was saying in another video on my other channel, if I get a game like GTA 6, Final Fantasy, and Elder Scrolls, and I get 100 hours of gameplay out of it, $80 really, you're getting your money's worth at $80. But if I pay $80 for a game that's 10 hours, I'm kind of wait for that one to drop in price. I think it all depends on what you're going to get out of it. I think that's where hours of gameplay come into it. Now, of course, if a game's multiplayer and you play the shit out of that, you get your money's worth too. Like a game like this, I mean, I paid the 70, which I don't like to do, but I did it. It's been worth it for me, and if I end up putting 20, 25 hours into it, that's still worth it. But like Rebirth, I bought it. Final Fantasy Rebirth, I bought it $70, and I put a ton of hours, and that's totally worth it. But let's say I'm looking up there like the Dead Space remake. If I didn't pay, I think I paid 30 for that. But say I was paying, it came out at 60, I believe, or 70. I would not pay $80 or $70 for that game because you're gonna beat it in like 15 hours. It's just not, to me, it's not worth the money. That's where you want to get your money's worth, right? But a GTA comes out at $100, you could bitch about the price, but you're going to get your money's worth. You can say that. Like, you're not going to beat it in a weekend, you know? But anyway, sorry, I just went tangent there. But check this out if you have a PS5. It's been on the Xbox for a little bit. Since December. Obviously just came out a couple of weeks ago. Right? About 3 weeks ago has it been? April, maybe it's like April 16th or 17th I got it. So, yeah, about 3 weeks. Really cool game, though. Definitely check it out if you got the PS5. If you have the Xbox Series X or S, you've probably played it. But it's a really cool game. It's enjoyable. I might do a review on it when I beat it. I don't know. Right now, it would be scoring fairly high because I enjoy it, but I wouldn't, hey, things happen in the final few hours of a game where you're like, you gotta be kidding me, and all of a sudden it drops in your mind like a point or two in a score. But anyway, thanks for checking this out, and have a good day.